Genesis chapter 2, it starts with this concept of the Sabbath. Okay, so there's the 6 days of creation in chapter 1, and God created everything in 6 days, but on the seventh day he rested. So because of that, it says in verse 2, chapter 2, verse 2, and on the seventh day God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work which God had created and made. So the Sabbath at this point, is this a commandment for Adam and all men to follow? I mean, there's nothing like that stated. There's no evidence that Abraham or Isaac or Jacob obeyed the Sabbath day. So later, when does it become a commandment?
The Ten Commandments.
Right. In Exodus, the book of Exodus, the Sabbath becomes, it's the fourth commandment, one of the 10 commandments. So that's based on Genesis chapter 2. But we don't see any evidence that the Sabbath was a commandment for mankind from day one. So we believe that was part of the law. So are we under the law today? No. So is the Sabbath commandment binding for us today? Well, of course, this is an argument among Christians. Most Christians agree that the Sabbath is not binding today. But that doesn't mean that, hey, you don't need a day of rest. That doesn't mean you throw away the principle. Christians for 2,000 years have always seen the Sabbath principle as good and something to be followed. So the Sabbath normally would be, we would worship on Saturday and we would rest on Saturday if we were obeying a strict Sabbath commandment. But we've seen that principle. Instead, we worship on the Lord's Day, Sunday, and that's traditionally been a day where Christians don't work. Of course, all that's been, kind of shaken up in the 20th century, but I think it's a good principle.